Welcome back. This time we're talking about middle school, the worst years of my life, based on the young adult books by James Patterson and Chris Tebbetts. Now obviously James Patterson is best known for his crime thrillers, but it's apparent that he's trying to become the most prolific author in history, and willing to try his hand at any genre, having already succeeded with teens with the Maximum Ride books. The film adaptation is directed by Steve Carr, who gave us Paul Blart Mall Cop as well as Daddy Daycare. Now to be honest, I had zero interest in seeing this movie, and really the only reason I did was that there was a showtime that fit perfectly into my schedule to allow me to do something I'd only ever done once before, and that's see 4 different movies in the theater on the same day. And I have to say, on a day in which I saw The Birth of a Nation, The Girl on the Train, and Queen of Katwe, this was really the biggest surprise for me. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best film of those 4, because it's not, but there was a lot more to this movie than I would have expected. I went in figuring I was going to get a pretty generic movie about students being harassed by their school administrators. And at its core, that's essentially what this movie's about. But the script tells its story in such an over-the-top way that it's really entertaining. And then there's a moment in the film that I just never saw coming, and I just remember thinking to myself, wow, this is really kind of powerful and emotional, and I wasn't prepared for it, and I have to say, again, this was a much better movie than I ever figured. It's actually quite entertaining, very funny at times, and as I said, a lot more emotional than you would ever think by watching the trailers. The story focuses on Rafe Ketchadorian, played by Griffin Gluck, a young teenager who's had a pretty rough go of it the last couple of years after his brother died of cancer and his father left the family. He's gotten enough trouble at his previous schools to get kicked out of all of them, and basically there's only one school left in the area that's willing to take him. Although he promises his mother, played by Lauren Graham, that this time is going to be different, it's quickly apparent that that's going to be a hard promise to keep once he meets his new principal, Principal Dwight, played by Andrew Daly. This is a man obsessed with rules and basically bent on trying to suck away anything that could possibly be fun or entertaining from his school. He's also totally focused on this upcoming standardized test called the Blair and how his students are going to perform on it, and how that will reflect on his school and himself. Really, as far as Rafe is concerned, there's only 2 things that are even halfway decent about this new school. First of which is the fact that his friend Leo, played by Thomas Barbusca, is also now attending. And the second is his homeroom teacher, Mr. Teller, played by Adam Polly, is a pretty cool teacher. When Principal Dwight catches Rafe doodling a caricature of him as a zombie, he confiscates Rafe's treasured drawing notebook and destroys it. This leads both Leo and Rafe to decide that they're going to in turn destroy Principal Dwight's rule book by setting out on a covert campaign of pranks to break all of his rules. On the home front, things for Rafe aren't much better, with both he and his sister Georgia, played by Alexa Nisenson, dealing with their mother's jerk of a boyfriend, Carl, played by Rob Riggle. Now, as I mentioned, pretty much everything about this story is insanely over the top. The principal is the worst principal you could possibly imagine. The cool teacher is the coolest teacher you could possibly imagine. The jerk boyfriend is the worst jerk boyfriend that you could possibly imagine. So it's obvious they're not trying to go for a realistic portrayal of middle school. But that actually allows them to have a lot more fun than if they were trying to do that. So as the pranks become more and more outlandish, they're just, frankly, a lot of fun. And the resulting film would have still been pretty entertaining, if not terribly remarkable. But then there comes that moment, and again, I just didn't see it coming, and it totally elevates this film, both from an emotional aspect as well as a storytelling aspect. The other thing this film's got going for it are some pretty strong performances, especially from Griffin Gluck as Rafe, as well as Alexa as his younger sister Georgia. Now, as far as complaints, the one part of the film where it being completely over the top was a kind of a detriment was with Carl, the jerk boyfriend. He does such a good job making him so completely unlikable that it's kind of hard to understand why their mother goes along with some of his suggestions over the course of the film. And my other issue is with the ending, and it doesn't really have to do with the story itself. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a multitude of pranks being planned. And there's a couple scenes leading up to a particular prank that never happens. And it really feels like there was a last-minute script change where they went in a different direction, but left in the earlier scenes leading up to what they were originally planning to do. It's kind of a minor issue, but the fact that it happens in the final moments of the film, I remembered it a lot more than I would have otherwise. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a huge surprise. I was expecting nothing and got a quality film. And definitely one that I think families can go and really enjoy together. If you've seen Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, what did you think about it? And how did you like your own middle school years? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some of my other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.